Working Class Beer Reviews is looking at Bourbon County brand Stout. This is the 2022 edition. So this is from last year. We're almost done with 2023. They had these on clearance at Discount Liquor. The tag's almost gone, so it just says 99. I want to say they were $11.99, and typically these things, when they're first released, they go for almost 20 bucks, depending on how scarce they are. Let's go ahead and pour this thing. Yeah, these things, people just jump all over this stuff typically, so I'm honestly surprised that there's much of these left. So I've put in the brandy snifter just to let it breathe, let it open up. On Untapped, it is saying that it's 14.3%. That's crazy strong. This beer is no longer being produced by the brewery. Duh. NA on the IBUs, there's almost 25,000 ratings. It says in the description, this year our Imperial Stout is aged and blended from freshly emptied bourbon barrels from Heaven Hill, Four Roses, Wild Turkey, and Buffalo Trace distilleries. Expect flavors of vanilla, dark chocolate, toffee, molasses, almond, and dried fruit. For a really strong stout, that actually makes a lot of sense. The brewery overall, Goose Island, is based out of Chicago, Illinois. And I'm just going to simply go off the Wikipedia page. The oldest currently operating brewery company in Illinois. It began as a brew pub that opened up in 1988 in Lincoln Park neighborhood and was named after a nearby island. I'm guessing after one of the Great Lakes, the one that's right next to it. A larger production brewery opened in 1995, so that was during the whole craft beer craze that happened in the late 80s to early 90s. This happened in the mid 90s. Second brew pub in Wrigleyville opened in 1999 and closed in 2015. Aww. Their beers are distributed across the United States and the United Kingdom after a stake of the company was sold to Widmer Brothers Brewery in 2006, and the brewery was able to expand to different markets. In 2011, Goose Island was sold to Anheuser-Busch InBev. Greg Hall stepped down as brewmaster with the AB InBev purchase in 2011. Makes you wonder if that was out of protest or something. So Brett Porter was hired as a new brewmaster. Bourbon County Stout says Goose Island's Bourbon County Stout was one of the first bourbon barrel-aged beers. It was first produced by Greg Hall, we just heard his name, in Chicago in 1992, when Jim Beam gave the brewer a couple of used barrels. However, according to Hall's assistant brewmaster and other pieces of evidence, may not have been produced until 1995. Goose Island's Brett Porter said, "We let the warehouse run to Chicago temperatures, cold winters, followed by hot, humid summers. That causes the staves in our bourbon barrels to bring in and then force out liquid. And that's where the flavor comes from. Every year in late November, Goose Island releases its series of Bourbon County Stouts, consisting of the classic Bourbon County Stout and its variants." I haven't seen the new ones yet for this year, so I've had this one for a few months. It actually says, what's on here? It says notes of vanilla, toffee, chocolate, burnt sugar, and dried fruit. 1 pint. So this is probably a 500 milliliter bottle. Drink by July 21st, 2027. So it had like a 5-year age date on it. Anyway, yeah, it said something like you could sell it for 5 years. And honestly, with it being 14.3%, you could probably go longer. I've got a light over here. It's artificial because it gets dark at sun starts going down at like after 4. It's ridiculous. But even in the sunlight, you probably wouldn't be able to see through this. This is super dark. The head dissipated really quickly. There's still a little bit floating on top. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that is rich. Very rich. If you watch the one from the Urban Chestnut that me and my guest Jordan did, it was a Russian Imperial Stout. It was not near as strong as this. So I want to say it was like 9 or something like that. So 14, that's crazy. And these are limited release. They only produce a certain amount. Let's take a sip then. That is a full mouthfeel. That's like a lot of stuff going on. It's almost like syrupy in consistency, like a real thin syrup. Dark chocolate, coffee, burnt sugar, yeah, caramel. Through that sweetness in the back of the taste, you start getting some of that bourbon barrel taste of it, that oaky. I'm guessing they were charred at some point, charred barrels, before they put bourbon in them. I taste grains. I didn't see an IBU. It would have to have some sort of IBU, or else it would be even sweeter than it is. So there's hops in here for sure. And nothing on the website, or any of the websites I've looked at, described what grains they use. I'm guessing some sort of just all barley malt. It may have oats or wheat in it, because they usually do that for extra body when it comes to stouts. Definitely a treat. That's why you don't see these in like 6-packs. You only see them in single bottles. The embossed, you can't really see it, the embossed bottle. I mean, it's neat for sure. And it's got this little flag here on the side. The cap's not really anything much to look at. It's probably no different than a regular Goose Island cap. Ooh, excuse me. Effervescent a little bit. But they're typically so expensive and they don't last very long. So I picked this up because it was on sale. That's how I justified it. And there was a few of them there at the time. Normally I wouldn't buy stuff like this because it's expensive, But it's worth trying. It's worth tasting at least once. Yeah, I get the dried fruits like raisins and probably dried cherries or cranberries or something like that. Just like dried fruit in general. Maybe prunes. Yeah, it's such a really, really complex mouthfeel. 14.3%. Here's the thing, something like this isn't a gulper anyway. You're not gonna sit there and just slam these back. I mean, you could try, but you're not gonna get to enjoy it. And it's gonna sit heavy on your stomach because it's all sweet and it's just real thick body. So these are sippers. So something like this, any sort of a fluted, like a wine glass or something like that, would be ideal for something like this. I mean, you're coming up on schnapps strength when it comes to that. I love it. This is really good. I think they had a mishap back in 2018, I want to say. Anybody in the comments that remembers this, they had a batch that was infected. When it happened, it's kind of all over people doing reviews. Louisiana Beer Reviews did one where his just like exploded when it opened, and he said it just didn't smell right. I don't know if he tasted it or not, but he could tell that something was off. And I think they refunded everybody. I don't know if they probably weren't able to refund them a new beer, but they refunded them their money, or maybe a voucher of some sort so they could get another one next year. Because obviously this stuff has a very high reputation. They have to withhold that. So if they make a mistake, I mean, they got to do damage control to make sure that people aren't turned off completely and never come back. So they got to woo them back in and make sure that they are willing to try it again next year. Be like, oops, our bad, So that's a sign of a good company if someone's willing to do that. I will say, I've had complaints about beer with, believe it or not, Anheuser-Busch, both Busch and Busch Light. You can see my beer reviews on those. The head dissipated them so quickly, and it's just like it didn't have a whole lot of carbonation. They were in pint cans, and you can go to their website and you can email them about it, and they'll contact you. They contacted me, reimbursed me, and they even gave me t-shirts. They did that with Rolling Rock as well, because Rolling Rock tasted like corn water, like canned corn water. It was weird, because I'd had Rolling Rock in the past. This batch is just, it's gross. It didn't taste like beer at all. It tasted like, open a can of corn, just drink the juice. And I know they use corn in the recipe, but it's not like that. But this is definitely much higher brow than all those. So they're going to try even harder to make sure their customers are happy. Customer service is always a good idea. And if a company gives you good customer service, it's worth sticking around and at least coming back for. Yeah, it's no wonder. I'm sure if I go to all the different rating sites, they'll probably rank this super high, because you can tell they try very, very hard. This is something they're very proud of, and this is probably made only in Chicago, if I had to guess, and not in their, Anheuser-Busch's other breweries, like some of the other more popular year-round beverages with Goose Island. Your Honkers Ale, your 314, wheat beer and IPA, and now they've got the beer hug, which is I think is competing with the Voodoo Ranger. I've done 1 or 2 of those, and I saw another one. I think I saw a hazy one that I need to try. So just to check it off my list is in those the stovepipe cans, the 19 point something ounces. They run around anywhere from $2.50 to $3 for a can, and I'd rather do that than get a whole 6-pack personally, just to try it out. So yeah, I'll probably sip on this for a while. It's very much highbrow, I guess you would say, but you got to let yourself try it once in a while. And like I talked before, I'm running out of options here, so I've been holding on to this one for a while. I gave Jordan the option to try this one, but he opted for the Thrales Russian Imperial Stout from Bourbon Chestnut. I'm sure he would have liked this just as much. But anyway, I appreciate you guys for watching this video. If you've had this year Bourbon County Stout, or any of them, if you're a fan of that series, let me know in the comments, and let me know what you think of it. If you had one that was infected, let me know what your experience was like with that, and let me know what the customer service with Goose Island, if it was any good, because I'm kind of curious of exactly how they compensated you for all that. Have a good evening, and I will see you guys later.